What's going on, fishing buddies? Welcome back to the channel. Today I'm going to go over the upgrades I've added to my Old Town Salty 120 PDL for offshore adventures. Let's get it out there! The old Salty 120, guys. This was impulse buy from Black Friday 2022. My good buddy Frisky Fins called me. He was buying a couple yaks. They had a great Black Friday sale. He asked me if I wanted in. Of course I did. So I picked up this 2022 model, Old Town Salty 120. And the reason I picked it up was solely so I had a vessel to get offshore with. Up until this point, I had two Old Town 106 PDLs. I was running guides with those. Those are great little kayaks, guys. 10 footers, 37 inches wide, super stable, super easy to load and unload. I would put my clients in those, and I had an Old Town Discovery canoe that I would lead the guides with. I recently sold all that stuff. I had embarked in a new career opportunity that didn't work out, but I did jump the gun and sell off my kayak guide business. Kicking myself in the butt right now. Really want to start digging into the offshore thing, guys. I mean, the fishery here where I live is excellent for it. We're not having to go miles and miles offshore. I mean, I could still see land and catch offshore fish. So I've added some upgrades. I'm gonna go over those with y'all today, just in case you're thinking about upgrading to get your vessel ready for offshore. These are some great suggestions for you. And real quickly, I'll go over why this is considered an offshore kayak. It's because of the bow here. The bow curves up here at an angle, nice and rounded off to cut through those breakers. You got this drop down here again to cut through breakers. It's a lot narrower than, let's say, the Sportsman models. I'm curious to see how wide this thing is. Let's measure it real quick. This guy is 22 and a half. I'll move it to the back a bit, and we're hitting right at 23. So 23 inches across here, guys. And that's on the inside. The entire thing is around 29 and a half. And then this guy is 12 foot long. So coming out of the Sportsmans, which were 10 foot and 37 inches, it's like riding a piece of plywood, basically. The Salty is a lot quicker, it moves faster, but you lose some stability. With those 106 Sportsmans, I tried to flip those things before, and I couldn't. I never once ever felt uncomfortable in them, and I got into some rough situations sometimes. With the Salty, I mean, from the first trip in it, I felt it's rocky, guys. And again, that's because I'm used to that shorter, wider kayak. But with my inshore trips with the Salty, I stand up in it just fine. I'm able to cast standing up, pee standing up, but I'm just a little more cautious with it. And again, with the Salty, because of this rounded out, just basically pointed bow here, you're able to bust through those rollers. With the 106, it's kind of squared off, basically. So if you are getting into some offshore stuff, if you're like, I want a kayak that's gonna do offshore, it's gonna do inshore, you like the Old Town brand, this would be the one I would suggest 100%. It's just a good all-around kayak to have that Old Town makes. She's got some weight on her though, man. I know that the Hobies are actually lighter, and there's pros and cons to both companies, both Old Town and Hobie. I stick with the Old Town because I like the pedal drive system, the PDL. I like to be able to pedal forward and pedal backwards without having to pull a lever or anything like that, which with the Hobie you have to. There's like a little lever you have to pull to get into reverse. But then the Hobie is also better for shallow situations because of the fins. Those fins will kind of fold back and you don't have to pull up your pedal drive. You know, there's, again, pros and cons to both. Pick your poison and make your decision. The Salty's also got a nice trunk space back here. That's what I call it, the trunk space. For gear, for camping, overnight camping, you still have a lot of stuff. What I'm missing with the Salty that I had in the Sportsman model was the in-hole storage. So the Sportsman model, this is covered up. There's a little entry point here, a cap you can pull off, and you can store gear down inside the hull of the yak. With the Salty, you just have this open space. Let's talk about getting this beast actually down to the water, because that's a chore all on its own. So instead of a trailer, I'm using my T-bone. I'll fit my T-bone right into here on the back of my truck. This is the T-bone. You can extend this or shorten it however you want. Just a big T, guys. Got some foam noodle on both sides. That just kind of keeps the kayak from sliding all the way back and forth. You can push these guys up once you have the kayak on there, and it'll hold it in place. I just drop the tailgate down, slide the nose in first, it extends out and rests on that T-bone. And then to get it down to the beach, I'm using the Wilderness System wheels here. These are the balloon tires, which is highly needed in the panhandle. We got some soft sand. With the Wilderness System, these bars fit perfectly in the hull of this Old Town kayak. Those bars fit perfectly right here on the Old Town. So the bars of that Wilderness System wheels, one bar will be here, one will be here, and it'll float that kayak right down the launch. All right, let's get into the video. Let's get into how I got this guy rigged up to be safe, secure, and functionable while having her offshore. Let's start with the back. Back here in the trunk space, I got this Eagle cooler. It's got 4 rod holders. And I don't use this as an actual cooler. This is where I keep tackle. This is my tackle storage. Whatever I need for secure to keep dry, I'll throw it in here. This has never had a bag of ice in it, a fish, bait, anything like that. And the Old Town bungee system fits perfect over the top of this guy for when I'm launching and coming back in to keep this guy secure. All actions I've taken to secure this thing for offshore is with the attention of when this thing flips. So obviously, you know, I don't want this to flip, but it's probably gonna happen sooner or later. So when it does, I don't wanna lose a bunch of gear. Then I have 4 rod leashes attached to the seat of my yak here. I got some attached to the bottom, some attached to the top. Then these guys all attached to my reels, basically there and there, and then 2 on the other side for, again, when I'm launching and coming back in. So in the case of the kayak flips, the cooler's not going anywhere and the rods aren't going anywhere. Then on the back of my seat, I have this Blue Dot Outfitters soft cooler. This is where I'm keeping like my water, my snacks, anything like that I'm consuming. So again, no bait has ever been in here, no fish have ever been in here. This is like my sanitary bag, so to speak. Moving up to the bow of the yak here, on my port side, I got my electronics and I have my battery box. Starboard side, I have this Yak Attack rod holder mount, and then this little phone mount. This is where I can put my phone. Then a Yak Attack anchor rope here. I don't use this as a rod holder. I actually clip my camera to it. So this is basically for recording. So if you're not doing any kind of video out there or anything like that, this would be insignificant. You wouldn't even need this. You could use something else here. But I'll clip my camera here, my GoPro, and then again, I can stick my phone in here to take pictures of catches and things like that. Everything's super close to my seat on my right-hand side, so it's easier for me to play with the functions and all that. This is the Yak Attack cell block. It's a battery box. That's its only function. Again, with the Old Town Sportsman, I had the in-hole storage. I could actually put a battery down in there. I never did. I never had electronics on those, but again, because this is open, I needed to find a safe spot for my battery, so I went this route. So I went with this option because my wire just runs right up through my scuffer here in the front. The looser wires is in front of me and it's not running all by me on the side and everything. And then you got your transducer right here. Old Town makes a nice little cubby hole for them. So that was pretty easy to get right in, guys. With the cell block, it's super easy to charge. This guy right here slides out. Battery slides in and out right there. I got the connections. I can take it out to charge easily. And then this bad boy just slides back in, keeps it secure. I did do a little marine glue again here where I drilled the hole for the wire. Moving into the electronics, I went with the Lawrence Hook Reveal 5-inch screen. It was in my price point, so this guy was around $350. I'm basically using it for depth, guys. It has a lot of great features. I just haven't got into them yet. I will eventually when I get more serious with the offshore thing, but right now I'm just kind of figuring out how to read this bad boy. So this Yak Attack mount I got, it is compatible with this Lawrence. You can move this guy around. You just unscrew here, adjust however you want it. This is a good little angle for me. It'll pop up and down without screwing anything. So right now this is working. I'm gonna keep it like that for now, but again, after some more trips out there, I might just end up going to the fixed right on top of the cell block here, and that'll give me some extra room out here. Moving back to the front here, in the front of the yak here is where I'm gonna keep a kill bag. So you can buy these like V-shape soft cooler kill bags, zippers in the front here. You're gonna have to get off your seat and lean forward to unzip and zip, but that's where I'm gonna keep my catches. Then my landing net will just kind of go right on top of it. Keep this handle out to the side so my pedals don't hit it when I'm pumping. Another great option for your landing nut is right behind the seat. So sometimes I can stick it like that. I'll leave my handle sticking out on my right side because I'm right-handed. So it's an easy grab back here, whip it around, land the fish. And then with the extra trunk space I have here after the cooler, I can put my live well. The battery I'm using to get in the cell block here is this Life PO4. It's a 10-hour battery life. I think this guy was under $100. And then with my life jackets, I have two different options. Both the Onyx brand. This is the lighter weight one. This one's a lot simpler feeling. It's not all bulky and everything. It's got the CO2 cartridge in here. So if you get into some sort of situation, you pull the tab and it inflates. It also has a little bit of like natural flotation. So if there was a situation where, like, let's say you were knocked out or something, it would still float and keep you above water. But to get the full effect, you need to pull this tab. So I'll use these on like light trips, like real north wind days when the offshore game is super flat, inshore trips, things like that. Again, I like this one because it's not so bulky. It's out of my way. I really don't even know I have it on. But then when I'm getting into more sketchy situations, I'll use this one. Again, it's an Onyx. This one's ready to go. So no matter what, you're floating. You don't have to pull tabs, anything like that. It's got a lot of flotation on it, front and back. It's got some pockets and things like that. You can carry extra tackle or whatever. But it's bulky, guys. This thing, like, you know you have it on. But it is the safer bet, like in dangerous conditions. So if I'm fishing around a lot of pilings, underneath bridges, things like that, where there's a lot of current pushing me, or offshore trips where it's rougher out there and there's more of a chance of, let's say, something happening to you where you're actually unconscious. In that situation, I want as much flotation as possible without having to rely on pulling a tab. But it does hinder me. Like I said, it's bulky. I don't like having it on. It's hot, but it is the safer bet, again, when you're in more dangerous situations. Last thing, guys, I always have this when I'm going out just for some safety concerns. I keep a few extra shear pins. So these little guys, they're in your pedal drive and they will break. If that breaks, your pedal drive is not working. It's right up in here in this component, so you would have to take this off, this nut off, pull this piece off, you'll find the broken shear pin, get rid of it, put the new one on, and now you're mobile again. So in this little bag, I'll keep the wrench that fits that nut. I keep some tow rope in there, whistle, some flare devices, just my little like emergency kit. Very important to keep these little shear pins, guys. I've had them break on me before and I've had replacements and it saved the trip. That's it, guys. That's how I'm setting up my Salty 120 for offshore adventures. There are numerous, hundreds of different things that you can do to your kayak with using different products and things like that. But this is what I found best that works for me, for what I'm doing. I'm trolling, I'm casting at blow-ups, and I'm bottom dropping, basically. I'm not miles and miles and miles offshore. Again, I can still see land of where I'm fishing. This kayak fits my height and weight. That's very important. Old Town has a bigger model, the Big Water, which I believe is like 14 foot long, wider. It's just a tank. I mean, it's like one more step and you got a boat. So I know some of my friends that are bigger guys, they use the Big Waters. But for me, I'm 5'11", 150 pounds. This Salty is perfect for me. You also got to think about getting this thing down on the beach. Here in the Panhandle, we have beautiful, beautiful soft sand, but it's like flour, y'all. So to be dragging a tank of a kayak from, like, let's say the parking lot to the water is a chore all in itself. So again, I used the Wilderness System wheels. They were like $250. That's what works great for my beaches and my sand. You might be somewhere where the sand's not as soft. You don't need something extravagant with the big balloon tires like we do here. The Big Water would be nice. You know, I would have more room. I feel like it would be more stable. But do I really need all that and the extra effort to getting that tank down to the water? I don't. The Salty 120 is definitely the vessel for me, guys, for my all-around kayak, inshore and offshore. I hope this video was helpful, guys. You guys check out my channel. You can see all my adventures. I got over 300 videos out there, y'all. Kayak fishing, surf fishing, jetty fishing, kayak camping, all kind of stuff. We've been at it for 3 years now here at Perdido Blaine Outfitters, and we got no plans of stopping. See y'all next time, fishing buddies.